Hi everybody and welcome back, and thank you so much for returning. Today we are talking about my full guide if you're interested in buying pre-loved and vintage. This one was highly requested, so let's do it. Hi everybody and welcome back. Yes, this is a highly requested video, and today we are doing my entire guide on how and tips and research on how to buy your vintage handbags, pre-loved handbags, where to buy them, and all of the juicy stuff. Before that, first of all, I want to say a huge thank you to every single one of you out there who commented on my last video and helped me out with my YSL bag, the Cassandra. And yes, I've decided to return it. So thank you so much to the huge response that I got. And you're dead right. I mean, I knew, just stick with your gut, Viv, but like something was confusing me along the way. I just don't know what happened. And by the way, also, I was way too close up in the last video. I was nearly in your face or in your drink or, you know, so I'm trying to stand back a bit. Plus I have a new lens that I'm working out, so hold on there. So yes, today we are talking about beauties, vintage pieces and all the rest. I want to give a huge shout out to one of you who requested this video. There were so many requests, but Maureen Desmond, mwah, big hi to you and thank you for requesting the video. As I said, a lot of you did. Can't mention you on, but I'll mention you again. So the fragrance of today, speaking about vintage, I decided to go with this beauty because this beauty has gorgeous ylang ylang. She has neroli and bergamot and lemon and iris and jasmine and rose. Base notes are sandalwood, she's vanilla, patchouli, musk, vetiver, and is just a real beauty. Now, it's not for everybody. I think it's beautiful because I love powdery, I love amber, I love all that kind of stuff. I don't wear this one very often, it's kind of a special occasion, but you know, she is a vintage. Actually, this bottle, I have her about, I could safely say 20 years. And I put it on the other day and Katie, she was going through some of my fragrances and she said, oh, I like that one, like that one. She says, I'm not sure about that one, Mom. She's kind of older lady. I was like, thanks. So it definitely has a mature kind of a fragrance. It's quite strong, but she is a beauty and a classic for a reason. Now, why would we buy vintage? Why would we buy pre-loved is where I want to start today. And there are many reasons why. Let's start with prices. So we all know the price increases and, you know, they're doing our heads in, as we all know. And so a lot of people are just, they cannot justify paying the prices that Chanel, Louis Vuitton and all the other houses are charging at the moment. So they are turning, or we are turning, to the pre-loved and vintage market. That is number one reason, I think. Plus, for me, I have to say I love the thrill, I love the chase, I love the kind of, it's a bit of a hobby in that, you know, if you're into handbags like we all are, if you're watching this video, or if you're not, thanks anyway. And I just think it is a hobby. It is something that, you know, you've an interest in, you learn more. There's so much to learn you wouldn't believe about vintage and pre-loved. What is vintage and pre-loved also, by the way? Vintage is anything more than 20 years old. So I have a few examples that I will be showing you later on. This little beauty here is like over 30 years old. That is what qualifies as vintage. Anything under 20 years is pre-loved. So there may be a bag that you want. This is another reason why people go vintage or pre-loved, that is either discontinued or you just simply cannot find. And so people will go to the pre-loved market. There's been handbags there, say, you know, the highly sought after bags in Chanel particularly, where you just can't get your hands on it because you're on lists, you're on waiting lists, people don't want to play these games anymore. We're just sick of the games that the houses are playing to level up and to create that kind of hysteria for their bags. That's literally what they're doing. So some people are refusing to play those games and go to the pre-loved market for that reason. My Chanel 21P, my caramel one, I got off a reseller actually because, yeah, I just couldn't get that bag in Ireland, so I had to go and get it somewhere else. That's another reason you would do that. So a lot of people will just, as I said, the quality also has just not been there for the likes of Chanel, even Louis Vuitton and houses like that. So people want to go vintage for prices, for quality, for uniqueness. I love to get a unique find, something that everybody doesn't have. And there's always that something extra, that something little different. As I said, if it's the quality, if it's the look, you know, there's always just something. So they are the reasons I think that people are now turning a lot to pre-love and vintage. Also, again, another thing is if you want to go vintage or pre-loved, you might want to use your bags more and more and more. You might feel more secure using your pre-loved bags, using your vintage bags, because they've already had an owner or a couple of owners, and you don't want to treat them like, you know, kid gloves in a little glass cage there. You want to use your bags. So buying pre-loved or the vintage makes it justifiable to do so. So there are just a few reasons to hold on to there. Another thing is some of the vintage bags, particularly now, are more valuable and they go up as the market goes up. So it's all relative. If you've got your price increases in Chanel, Louis Vuitton, and etc., the value of your vintage bags keeps going up. As we all know, the vintage market has just gone skyrocketed since all the increases. So if you mind your vintage pieces, they are quite a good investment. They can be quite a good investment. And also it's a great thing as well because it's just harder to fake a vintage. You can't fake a vintage. You can't fake the 24-karat gold hardware. You can't fake the quality. You can't fake that yellow gold. So all of these reasons together are, you know, reasons why people would go the vintage or pre-loved, I think. Now, says you, what are your tips, Viv? Well, hold on to your horses. First of all, I would say to you, my number one tip for buying pre-loved, I'm going to list a whole lot of places that I recommend that I have purchased from in Europe, in the States, and in Japan. I will put a link down below to all of those resellers that I would recommend highly. So yes, first of all, my number one tip is research. Now, there are pros and cons, obviously, to buying pre-loved and vintage. One of the cons is it takes time. If that's going to be an issue for you, you're not going to enjoy this game. If you just enjoy looking at handbags, enjoy looking at all the beauties and the eye candies and everything else, you are going to enjoy this. For me, that's not a problem. I actually really enjoy comparing sites and all that kind of stuff. I wouldn't recommend going into shops like, say, Oxfam or secondhand shops like that. People now know the value in pre-loved bags, so I wouldn't think you're going to get a huge bargain in those kind of charity shops. I would recommend going to shop online, but do your research. By that, I mean YouTube videos. Watch lots of YouTube videos. Go on Instagram, put in your hashtags. Watch videos that they will compare authentic bags versus replica bags. Get to know the product that you want to buy so that you can see what a replica looks like and the difference between a replica and an authentic bag. So your replica bag is not going to have the details and the quality, or the replica bag you're looking at is not going to have the details or the quality or the fixtures and fittings of an authentic bag, and that's what we're paying for. Well, some of it's just marketing. So what you need to look out for is stitching. Like with Chanel, they do 10 to 11 stitches per each quilt. So if you get a bag and you count the stitches and there's 15 stitches on one quilt, there's a very high chance that it's a fake. Also, if you look at the grommets of a bag, I'll just take down Missy Moo here. Some of the bags, this one actually isn't, but some of the bags have printing on the actual grommets of the bag. Does it have 1 grommet? Does it have 2 grommets? Feel the weight of the chain. A lot of fakes will be much lighter in weight because obviously they don't have the budget. And the quality of your lambskin, if it is Chanel, in Louis Vuitton, look at the print of the bag. Sometimes the LVs are all going the wrong way if it's a really bad fake. Look at the heat stamps of your purchase. The hologram on the authenticity card of the Chanel bag. If the hologram around it is an iridescent kind of a color, it's probably a fake. Make sure the numbers match. Make sure the years match. Go on websites like Yogi's Closet, and there are purse forums where you can do more research. Again, I will link those down below, and get to know the years, the year from which the bag is from. Chanel particularly changed their stickers and they changed their print and things. So go on to Yogi's Closet and do some research. They have brilliant information on the year you got your bag. Just research, you can Google everything. So I would highly recommend doing that. And this is my beauty, and she is 30, I think it's 32 years old. She's becoming more and more special to me the longer I have her, and she's just a little beauty. Like, the details in this bag and the quality are just so fabulous. So another thing I would say is to make sure to go with a reputable company. Now, how do you know they're reputable? Again, if you go on you know, if you're in the US, if you go on Fashion File, or they're obviously reputable, they have the Real are reputable. Again, I'll link a whole lot down below. In Japan, there are so many reputable ones. You've got Mallory's, you've got Brand JFA, I think they're called. Again, I will link them all. And in Japan particularly, it's looked down upon in their culture. Not even looked down, it's just a no-no. They would not sell fakes. It's just, they have a culture of morals and values. So I really, really trust Japanese sellers, and that's where I got my beauty. And again, I will link that down below. Japanese sellers are amazing. Now, the thing about obviously buying from Japan or America or wherever it may be is you have to be aware of your custom charges, your duties, your shipping, and all of that kind of stuff. So make sure you do your research on that when you are going with these sellers and buyers, and just add it up and make sure it's going to be worth it for you, whatever country you are in. Sometimes you might be lucky and get away with not paying the customs or duty. I'm not recommending that, but sometimes if you're doing a private sale, they might just write on the bag, well, it's something else. That's between you and your private seller. If it's with a consignment store, it's pretty much straight up, you know, up front. So yes, reputable companies, as I said, you have to do your research. And as I said, I will put a whole lot of them down below so you can check those out. Now, also, I would recommend, if you know, you're looking at something and going with your gut, like, you know, me in the last video, which I wasn't, well, I was, but I wasn't. And if you see something that is too good to be true and it's like $50 or $100, chances are, ladies, it probably is too good to be true. So I wouldn't really go with that. Don't get carried away in the hype of, oh, I just want it, because there's so many scammers out there. There's so many people that just want to take your money. So just be so, so careful. Like, there are places on eBay where you will see auctions and the bag starts at $1, but that's just to get viewers in. They usually end up at a pretty reasonable price, and then you've got bidders who come in and they won't bid until the last day. These people are nearly professional at bidding at this stage. So yeah, it starts off very low, but it literally goes to, you know, market price, let's say. Also, the condition of the bag. Always ask questions. You know, you look at your bag and you can say, oh, that looks beautiful online, but make sure you zoom in. Make sure you take lots of pictures. If it's a private seller you're going with, say on eBay. And I know a lot of people say eBay. eBay has tightened up its regulations, and it also has buyer protection, things like that. I have bought a couple of bags from eBay. Actually, this one was a Japanese seller on eBay, and I was very happy with it. So I wouldn't diss eBay at all. You can still get some beauties on eBay. So what I would say there is ask questions, and if it's a private seller you're going with on eBay rather than a consignment store, make sure you ask for extra pictures, you zoom in on the bag, ask them about the condition of the bag, and have it all in writing so that you have some sort of documentation that when it comes back, if you're not happy when you actually receive the product, that you have it in writing that they said, well, it was this and it was this and it was this, whether it was one owner only. And also ask, if they bought it from somebody else, who did they buy it from? How many owners has it had? Are there any owners? Or odors? Were they smokers? All these questions are so important for the end result, because we all know you can take good pictures now, certain lighting and things like that. So just be extra careful when buying from private sellers, particularly because, you know, people just want to take your money and you want to document everything. You want to ask all the right questions. Also, you want to know sizings. There are different sizes. Vintage bags and vintage in general can be different sizings to modern day. So ask about centimeters, ask about inches, you know, the small mediums, the medium larges in Chanel. Also read the T's and C's when you're buying anything, what the return policy is like. Do they actually accept returns? Do you have to pay for the shipping of the returns? Also look on their feedback. The seller should have a feedback, whether I like to look at, they have to have a 90-something% positive feedback from each purchase. Sometimes you will look at a seller, if it's only one, they've only sold one product. Well, obviously they're not very experienced, so you have to be very careful there. And they could have 100% feedback because they've only sold one product. Whereas if you're looking at, what is it, Atlantis Tokyo, I think is another one, a Japanese seller. They could have sold thousands of products and then they have a 94% feedback, yeah, because it's relative to the amount of products that they've sold. So I would say up on the 90s is good, positive feedback, and you're pretty safe with those companies. Now, next I would say, just again, you know, make sure you're getting the product true and authentic as to what they said. First of all, make sure they say it is an authentic product, and then you can ask them, has the product been repainted? If it has, you want to know up front, has there any repairs been done to the bag? With canvas, Is there any cracking? Like this beauty here, I got this from Vestia Collective, and like €700 I paid for, and I absolutely adore this little cutie. Katie took her out the other day actually, and she just said to me, Mom, I just love this bag. And I'm the same. I just adore her. You can put a little extra chain on, wear a crossbody, she fits your phone. And look at the vachetta on this bag. I love her, I'll never sell her. Yeah, very, very happy with this find. But look at the condition of this bag. The vachetta is unreal. There are no watermarks on it. There's just no bad kind of vibes, smells, stains. The stitching is beautiful. And that's another thing with the canvas of the vintage bags. Another reason you might want to go vintage is the canvas is stronger, tougher, quality is better. So they're just the reasons that people go that way. That, you know, I suppose people that have experience with bags for a very, very long time, because a lot of people are like, oh no, I wouldn't buy vintage. And there's kind of a snobbery to it, or a snobbery to buying pre-loved. But once you know the business, once you know the game, once you know so much about handbags, you have no problem whatsoever, because you can find some real gems out there. You really can. Okay, so moving on to where can I buy these bags, Viv? It's all very well. People are saying, oh yeah, buy them here, buy them there, but I don't have a clue where to buy them. Well, I'm going to link all that down below, but I would recommend Japanese sellers for sure, for quality. The quality of the Japanese, the condition of the Japanese sellers' bags, they just are right up there, pristine condition. As I said, I got this from a Japanese seller, and I also got my vintage Gucci from a Japanese seller, and look at the condition of this bag. She is just in perfect condition. You know, I have never used this bag. Will I ever use this bag? I don't know, but every time I look at her inside, like look at the quality of the gold rings, because it's vintage, and the bamboo handle. I just love how this bag looks, and I love how it feels. And on the inside, as you can see, look at that, like absolutely pristine. She is a real beauty. And the finish, like she's this little slip pocket, right? But there's like a little stud button, you know, to fasten it. And then you have another one, then you have the zip here, and then you have the gold little chain tab that you just don't really get anymore. Can you see it? Yeah. And then on the inside, I have obviously the little card. That's another thing, always look out for your little textile cards, your little, as much information as you can get with the product that you're buying. Receipts, tags. Like some bags you look at and they come with, like a Louis Vuitton comes with a tag. Louis Vuitton doesn't come with a tag. So watch out for those things. But as I said, you know, there's so much information out there online, and just to Google it, just to get to know what you're buying, what you're receiving, the quality. You know, after a few years of buying bags online, or, you know, just being in the whole game, you just get to know the quality of the bag, you know, the feel of the bag, the touch, the smell, the weight, everything. So where, as I said, in Japan, there are a couple on Insta, actually. I have bought from Timeless, like Audrey. I would recommend her. She's brilliant. And I've also bought from Luxury Teaholic. She's also good. Now, I didn't buy vintage from her. I bought new from her. But they're just options there as well. I know, who else? Luxury Promise, the Real Yogi's Closet. I'm going to list so many for you down below. Then, like, I got this one online as well. This one was pre-loved. This is not vintage, it's pre-loved, but I wanted this one for the reason of the darker yellow gold, which they just don't really do anymore. And I got her in the lambskin. Again, I will link where I got this beauty, and I just absolutely love her. Like, the quilting is still puffy. These are things you want to look for when you are going to buy your bag, the details, like, you know, is there any crinkling? Is there any ripping? Count your stitches. Look at the back there. She's in just super condition. And particularly with Chanel bags then as well, you want to check on the inside flap. We all know it marks really badly here from the zip. I protect mine like this. You know, it's always great to get a piece that hasn't been marked too badly and that has been minded, because you can get ones that are damaged very badly from the zip. So that's another thing to look out for. And here as well, it can be pulled a lot because it hasn't been stored correctly. So they are just a lot of little tips to know and to look out for when you're buying vintage. Again, I have my little beauty of my Chanel mini square that I just adore. This is the Chanel mini square, and she is in beautiful condition, and again in the dark gold yellow hardware. Just a little stunner. This piece is from 2012, and I think she's just gorgeous. So hopefully that has helped you, and hopefully you can find something that you get value in, that you will use, that you will love, and that you will cherish. And that's another thing that I just think you appreciate these bags a lot more because you've put so much work into finding them and so much energy and research, and they just are, it's like that delayed gratification. Like, I adore each and every one of those bags because they all have a story behind them, and they're very, very special to me. Now, the last thing I want to say to you, and this is actually one of the most important things I will say, is please, 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 when you're paying online, make sure it's a safe payment with PayPal, with eBay, that you've got buyer protection. Just make sure, because there are so many scammers out there. I don't want to be responsible for anybody getting in any kind of trouble. Make sure your items are insured, things are registered, take lots of pictures, document everything you write down, document all the information that you receive, when you receive your package, even nearly before you open it. Just record it on your iPhone or whatever it is, on your camera, everything that came with it, so you have got proof. Protect yourself. Enjoy the journey, because it is a journey, and it's just a little bit different than, you know, going in. You know, once you buy 1 or 2 new bags, I don't mean this to be flippant, it's kind of the same over and over again. Whereas the story and the journey behind buying vintage, it's individual and it's unique every single time. So that's it. I'm going to link everything for you down below. If you've any questions, just DM me, just message me down below and comment down below. If you want any help with anything, I'm more than happy, and I'm here to help. And again, thank you for all the comments on the last video. I really appreciate you guys, and I hope that helped. And if you buy any bags, let me know. I'd love to hear if you buy a bag. I'd love it. And if you got it for a great deal, that's even better. So that's it until next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the notifications bell so you don't miss any future videos. Until next time, be kind, be safe, be compassionate. Love you lots. Mwah.